Hi, everyone. I'm CEO, founder of Kollectin. Thanks for joining us for Momentum Monday. I love coming on these calls to, see everyone and then also to share knowledge. So whether it's in fashion and business or in trends, this is something I love to do every Monday to kind of really start off the week the right way. So anyway, today I'm actually very honored to be talking about a little bit about my journey of growing my business and how I utilize my experience to really grow it from a one women solo entrepreneurship to really by the 10th year I was in business, I grew it pretty much to a pretty good size, shipping over 1 million pieces of jewelry to retailers around the country. Not to say those 10 years weren't really difficult and very challenging, but I did learn a lot about what it takes to kind of grow that business from literally the ground up. And from that was really how I took all my experience and know-how in the fashion business and growing that business in person, online, from one woman shop to multi-retailers to chain stores to department stores to private labeling for large brands. Really, that was my journey in fashion business. And then I took all my knowledge and created that into Kollectin, meaning created the tools that made Kollectin today, so that everything I knew I needed, and now it's now right there in your fingertips on a mobile app that you, as an entrepreneur who want to build your business, can really follow and really grow your business in the same manner or different manner, but in the same kind of pathway that I experience as an entrepreneur. So really, to start business, I always go back to the fundamentals, and one of the major fundamentals, key to success, is really just the grit. So Angela Duckworth, one of my favorite authors, talked about grit, and I love how she coins it as the combination of passion and perseverance for long-term goals. And your business, no matter how small it feels today, it's really not defined by where it starts, but it's defined by the direction that you choose and the consistency that you build. So for every stylist, every brand, every creative entrepreneur out there, every business starts in a modest way, in the modest beginning. So until one day you'll feel like, hey, magic happened and everything starts to click. And it's almost like the universe telling you that, things are coming together, and you will just feel that momentum and that energy. And that's most magical and also the rewarding time when you start a business, when you start to feel like things are going and happening. So I'm going to kind of walk you through this process of how it happened for me. So in terms of, maybe we'll do a quick check-in with everyone first. So for those who are participating, you could do it on chat. On a scale of 1 to 10, how big does your business feel like to you right now? Doesn't necessarily mean numbers in terms of revenue or not in terms of followers. It's more of momentum. As you feel, what is the momentum that your business path is currently? Because research tells us that the perception of progress really matters so much as you feel like there is momentum. So when you start to build that foundation and start to feel momentum, it's then when you feel that progress is happening. So I'm going to share with you a little bit about my Nadia story, which is my first business I started when I was literally 21 years old, straight out of college. I just had this drive and passion to become an entrepreneur, and always knew that if I was going to start a business, it was going to be in fashion, because that's what I love and that's what I knew the best. And then also because growing up, everyone always told me I'm like a walking retailer. People would stop me on the streets and tell me like, hey, I love what you're wearing. Where'd you buy that? Or I love how you put this outfit together. Or even like, hey, what do you use for your beauty regimen? And I find the most joy and pride when I share kind of my experiences or what I found or what I know about certain brands or about these products, or if people want to hear my advice of how I pull these styles together to make it work. And because of that, I knew like fashion was where I wanted to be when I started my business. But the funny thing is, it not only was I felt was my strength. It all started with these bracelets. For those who knew Adia Kyber and the Adia Kyber story, which is my first business, um, these are these wire guitar strings. They're actually on Kollectin right now too. And I'll tell you, these wire bracelets, they're like little slinky. I actually found them when I was traveling home to Taiwan when I was 21, that summer of when I was visiting my father, and I came upon a factory that made these springs. These were actually springs for Motorola's phone at the time. So they were inside the phone. And what I found is when they churn these out, and it's like a long string, that you could screw them together and they could become a bracelet. And rather than being this gray, ugly gray color, that if I had plated them in different colors, so they come, I think, in 20 colors, that I could make really cute bracelets out of this. And literally, these bracelets that I started off literally in a luggage and went to my first, looking for my first sales rep and looking for my first reseller client. Is still selling today. So I still have lots of museums so for all you stylists who are growing your B2B business at this stage, you could now go to like museums. I've probably sold these to like LACMA, MoCA, any museum you think of, Los Angeles, San Francisco, SF MoMA. They've all bought these bracelets because they're so timeless and so cool. But anyway, I don't want to sidetrack. But really, my first business in fashion was this foray into selling these bracelets. And what started off with selling to my family, mostly my cousins, younger cousins at the time, and some aunts, and then a couple of friends, and that was really it. That was the solo entrepreneurship I started. But then I started to realize people love these things, and it didn't feel very glamorous. It didn't feel very successful, but I knew like there was a market for this. Instinctually. So what I did was I started to try to find where else could I sell these, not just friends and family, which by then I pretty much sold every relative I know and every friend that I knew, but like to retailers, so little boutiques, mom and pops. And I found out since I was in LA that I can actually go downtown to the fashion and try to find a sales rep who would then represent me as a brand to sell these bracelets to these smaller boutiques. So I still remember luggage in hand with a bunch of bracelets. I went to every floor on California Mart and looked for a sales rep. And from there, I got my first sales rep. I got lots of no's, but I finally found one sales rep. Then, from that, she took me. I got my first order to a small boutique and started my business. And I started to build more confidence. Didn't really know how to take orders. At least I was getting orders from the sales rep. I started to research where else could I sell these, not just in Los Angeles. And I remember going to New York on a very cold January day decades ago with with literally a luggage of these bracelets. And I got into a fashion trade show at the time and started selling to the boutiques. And I still remember I was ill prepared. I did not know how to take orders. Most of these orders were coming from my sales rep. I didn't actually know how to do it. I didn't know we actually had to take orders at the show. So I still remember that first customer that came by and say, "Hey, I'm ready to place an order." And I didn't have a sales order book in the hand. And my neighbor's like, "Hey girl, you got to go to Staples across the street and get a sales order book and start writing these orders. This is an order writing show." And from there, I learned how to start my wholesale business on selling fashion. So, again, it's these little steps, and it's along the way where you start to do things more steadily. You'll start to see things, momentum accumulate. People say it's usually because you're lucky. I do think it's really a culmination of your hard work and the little things that you put together that you start to see results. So the big idea is really simple. It's just that your business grows in stages. Small beginnings really create big opportunities. So as the American author Robert Collier said, success is the sum of small efforts repeated day in and day out. I always love this quote because it is so true as an entrepreneur of multiple businesses and decades being in business, that really this aligns to this deliberate practice of being consistent, being very focused, and then not worry about the speed of how fast you get there. Because I always think it's not about, it's always about the journey. It's not about how fast you get there. It's about the journey that you go on to build this business that really defines what long-term success is for you. So your actions today, no matter how small that you think it is, it actually contributes to something bigger. So the power moves, really, I just want to, give you a little bit of a roadmap. So there are 3 power moves that reflects how long-term achievement happens in these pathways. So first, it's really having a mindset shift. And then it's a really step-by-step growth path, and then a clear roadway for you to take immediate action. So let's kind of break it down to what that means. So the power move number 1, it's really the mindset shift. Okay. So this is I would say this is the hardest thing, and this is the one thing I keep telling all of my friends and family and any stylist, anyone who wants to start a business, that the biggest barrier is always yourself. So in order to succeed or to start, you need to have mindset shift in order to get started. Whether it's a project, it's a business, it's a skill, if you don't get past your own barrier, it's really hard to make that first step and then compile all the little things that will give you results. Okay. And this is also the step where you start to sabotage yourself and think that, oh my gosh, I'm doing all these little things and it's not happening. But this is also the step where you need to figure out how to persevere and how to survive and keep going. So, the research is very clear. Those who keep going during the slow beginning stages are the one who ultimately breaks through. So the mindset shift is this: the early stage of slow growth is not the problem. It's really just the foundation that you're building. So, with these little wins, you really will see progress and see results. So really, when I personally look back into my growth as a company, this takes us to power move number 2, the strategy, the natural growth path of any entrepreneur, especially in fashion. And this may be the same principle for a lot of businesses, but for me personally, I really felt like this was how my business path in fashion happened. It starts with friends and family first, and then goes to social, in terms of your social network, whether it's online or between your friends. And then you start to discover, okay, you've outgrown that, then you need to go to somewhere there's more demand. And then you start looking at boutiques or retailers. And then once the smaller retailers get to a saturation, you start to look at bigger companies. And then when you get to a bigger company and bigger clients, you start to think, hey, you know what? I've figured out a niche where I can build my own brand. And that's when you decide, hey, I think it's time I build my own brand, because you've kind of discovered, all the magic comes together. There's something that still is unfulfilled in the market. And that's when you decide, okay, I think it's time to build my own brand. So really, this is the stages that I felt was very natural. If you're building a fashion business and using Kollectin's tools, you can get there for every stage. So let's move on to just kind of dive into the details of stage 1. So stage 1, just consider it as kind of your soft launch to friends and family or people who know you. Doesn't matter what business you're starting, it always has to start with friends and family. It doesn't matter if you're a tech founder, if you're a fashion business owner, you're a restaurant owner. If you want to start a business and you don't have enough funds, you still have to go out and get your friends and family to contribute. When you start the business and you want to get sales, you still have to start with your friends and family to get started before you move on to the next step, which is, retailers or businesses or institutions. So I know it feels like it's a very slow process, but it's also the process where you could find the most honest feedback. And it really is the process where this is the place where you can really learn your style of communication, where your niche lies, learn about like how to talk and how to sell or promote your products, about interacting with people, about sharing like what works, what doesn't work. And then really is getting comfortable with yourself, being able to share, to pitch genuinely something that you truly believe and isn't something that is just, made up or something that you don't believe in. And I think the success to a lot of sharing is really sharing it genuinely from the bottom of your heart, something you truly love, you truly use, and you would truly want to share because you enjoy not just the sharing part, but you enjoy kind of seeing the results of that share. So again, your goal on this step on stage 1 is really not about how big or how much business you can get. It's really to get better at what you're doing. So it's more about competence, right? About getting good at how to pitch your business, how to pitch yourself. Then you'll get to stage 2. So stage 2 is really just about, now I have confidence in what I know I'm selling, what I'm good at, and how to pitch it and how to angle it. Now, where else can I sell it to? Who else other than my friends and family can I share this concept, this product, this business with? And this is where it brings you to really steady growth. Now, in today's world, it's mostly done through social media. You could still do it in person. I personally love to do it in person, sharing with my friends, my families, and then asking them for referrals, going out to, when I'm like getting my hair cut, talking to my hairstylist, going to get my nails done, talking to the nail salon, kind of just one step beyond just friends and circle into more businesses and social circle. But psychologically, this is a turning point because this goes from people to strangers you've never really done business with. And I think that's another hard step to kind of get comfortable with, right? Psychologically, you kind of have to, when you're pitching to someone you don't know, that possibly there's a no involved. Or there's rejection involved. So knowing how to deal with that and then trying to get better with practice. So really your focus on stage 2 is really just getting yourself out there. It's just visibility. Show up, show them that you're competent, show them that you know your product, you know what it is that you're selling, you know how competent you are and proficient you are, whether it's sharing your style, sharing your product, sharing, your business. Let people see your point of view. Let people understand what it is that you are trying to promote. And that becomes very powerful and again, builds that stage, getting you from competence to more confidence to more, newer businesses. Then you just move on to stage 3. So stage 3 is really a place where you've grown beyond your friends and family. And now you're like, okay, I think I have a really good business now. And I think I could sell beyond my friends and family to maybe retailers, true businesses, retailers that actually have a need for my service or my product. So that could be signing up a local boutique, as a B2B customer. Or a local retailer, a restaurant or business owner who actually may want to utilize your services and your products. So, and you will begin to see when you get to this stage that really business needs are very similar to personal needs. It's about really finding that need and meeting that need. I recently actually was just on the phone texting back and forth with one of our stylists, the Kollectin, and by the time she had about 10 Get Style clients, she's already exploring beyond like, what else, who else can I grow my business with? And she came up with the idea. I think she was doing a local show in her community, promoting her styling business. And then during that process, she also tried to go out and sign up some coffee shops in her neighborhood and actually had success. So that's really how you see how you go from stage 1, 2 to now stage 3. So this stage is really now showing up and being expert about what it is that you are offering, whether it's that service or that niche product that a business would want. And really in long-term achievement research, this is really called deepening your craft. So you start being a beginner or feeling like you're a beginner and then feeling like you're now truly a specialist. and your decision becomes sharper, your taste becomes clearer, and then your instincts get stronger. And this is when you're like, okay, now I'm really in business. And then really by stage 4, this is when you feel like, gosh, things are really happening, when the momentum is shifting. And this is when I tell you, this is when you feel like the stars are aligning, and the people you meet and the referrals you're getting and the orders that are coming in are just coming in like in loads. You're getting lots of referrals and things are happening. So this is what I call the momentum shift. And then all of a sudden, you are no longer just selling to friends and family and just a solo entrepreneur. You'll find yourself as a small business. You know what niche you serve, what products are great for you to push, to recommend for which customers, for what niche. And this is when you're thinking about, it can't just be me. I might need some help. I might want to go to local trade shows and I can't do it alone. I might need to find a friend or hire an employee. And then when you start hitting bigger companies, this is when it kind of just begins to start to roll, and you will see volume at this point. So this is when you go, oh, okay, not rather than selling one piece, now you could sell 10 pieces. And that was very much me. And I still enjoy this a lot, because recently, when we launched our Lovey Tea into the B2B business, and I actually tried it myself. I went to some of my friends who are in business, who are in a service business, and offered to sell them a t-shirt with their customized logo, a premium t-shirt rather than the usual cheapo shirts that don't fit really well. For those who know the Lovey Tees, they're amazing, right? So I offered, to do a premium t-shirt with their company logo and see what happens. And from there, I got a referral after referral. And then that really rolled into order that I literally had one client probably bought 200 pieces from me. Just because I started to, roll that momentum into like one thing into another. So this is when you're no longer just experimenting. You're really feeling like, okay, I think there's a need here. What I found in that exercise is I found that a lot of premium firms like accountants, lawyers, doctors, they wanted really premium shirts. And, they didn't want the cheapy shirts that they get from marketing to print their logo that someone that they gifted to, or an employee they gifted to, will wear it once or wash it once, and everything starts to fall apart. So what I found was that niche. And this is when I go, okay, I think there's a real business here. And I'm sure for those who are trying out the B2B portion of the Kollectin business, this is when you can find that, okay, if I can find this one customer, I could probably find another. And this is how your business starts to scale. And then going to stage 5. Okay, stage 5. This happened to me with Thought About It. Speaking of Thought About It. So really stage 5 is when the culmination of everything you've built starts to make sense. And then you're starting to begin to see there's niche that are not fulfilled in the market. And then that's when you start to feel like, hey, you know what? I actually have a great idea that I think I can create a product or a brand after, and then I can go after that. And for me, for those who know me, it is my Thought About It brand. So I call it Thought About It because I thought a long time about it, because I already had a jewelry business and I was doing Kollectin. And I'm like, oh, do I want another thing? But really what bothered me was that the things that I wanted in this underwear line just was not available in the market for my age group and for my needs. And since I had the ability and the network by now for some really premium fabrics, and some really forward, like some very special fabric technology, I was able to make this underwear line for myself, truly. And then now I'm finding that there are a lot of lovers and believers in this product that just, it's beginning to have its life of its own. So this is really when you, now at this stage, this is your stage where you can basically take everything and create it into a brand. And then it really becomes a part of you. and the business and the ability to really master everything. It's both your autonomy to sell and own up to all the business stages, and then getting it to this point where now you find a purpose in something that you want to create and that you could change, really make it better for other people that are also looking for these products. Then it becomes really who you are and part of you. And that really is how my journey led to Kollectin, thought about it, and all the different steps that gets you to these, I think, the 5 stages of business success. Okay. So just kind of recap also, since we're on this. This is thought about it. This is also in every single one of your SMB and GSB boxes for clients and for stylists. So what I loved about this brief, you probably see it even in the camera. These are micro holes. Okay, so very, very small. So it's breathable. So I don't know for those who experience, but sometimes, like especially in the summer, when the fabric doesn't breathe, it feels kind of sticky. So this fabric actually has these pin needle to kind of release the heat. And then what I loved was that I really wanted a seamless brief. Okay, that was seamless, truly seamless. So you didn't have any lines, because all the jeans and pants are so tight nowadays at the hips. So I want it completely seamless. And what I wanted was, for those who are moms or older, I wanted a lining. So there is literally a very thin, like waterproof lining that you can't feel like it's like really heavy, but it goes from the front all the way to the back. So on those days, that's why I call the 28-day brief. On those days when you know it's coming or not coming or don't know when it's coming, you could wear this, still look fabulous, and then be able to be protected just in case. So anyway, this is the packaging for the brief. You're going to get one for free in your size this month. So if you do see it, try it yourself or give it out. There's just, yes, it's amazing. I'll tell you how many friends buy from me every single month. All right, so let's kind of just, I'm going to get back to the business and just kind of summarize our little power move to number 3. These are kind of the scripts that, are easy for you to follow for each stage that you could use. And you can maybe go off of to think of a few that relates to you, whether you're at stage 1 and you're trying to, learn how to promote your business to your friends and family, or if you are in stage 2, trying to get the word out on social media, or if you are in person and you're trying to pitch to a B2B business like a boutique or a local retailer, or even when you are talking to a big corporation, or a big event, how do you promote things? And then, or at the stage 5, when you create your own brand, how do you get that out there? So these are just some examples of scripts that I've put together that you can go back and check it out later. Sometimes coming up with the perfect message or the wording is probably the hardest thing. But now with just examples and a bit of AI, you could really make this messaging more personal to you and help you really build your confidence. Okay, so we'll go back to how Kollectin supports every stage of growth. So one of the most important predictors of perseverance is your environment. So when the environment supports the behavior, then consistencies become really easy. So Kollectin was built so that we could support you on every stage of this journey. Every single tool that you use, whether it's a share cart, a get style client styling box service subscription tool, or just sharing your store, those are all tools that you will need at every stage of this business. So whether you're sharing a collection with friends, or building your social media following, or trying to sell to a corporate account or a local retailer, all the tools are here. And if you don't know how to use it or use it in combination, please always reach out to our team. You could DM us on the collective, or you can email us on our support email. Okay, so here's some business math for some action because I feel like every time we set some goals, we'll get to it. So I like to make Momentum Monday one of the times that you try to set some goals for yourself. So whether you're a stage 1 or stage 2 or stage 3 or stage 4, set some goals for yourself. So some of the goals I put in as a suggestion is if you're at stage 1, just try to get like 5 friends, like to talk about your business, and then try to get at least one person to be able to make one sale with, and then use a number. I always love a number in mind, because if you don't have a number in mind, you really don't know what your number is. Then you really don't know how many things that you have to promote, or how many people you have to send the text message or make the phone calls to or meet up with in order to make that number. So I usually have a very, achievable number as kind of the goal. So once you go over that number, you're like, oh, I did it. It's easy. It wasn't as hard as I think. So literally at stage 1, just find one friend to help you, buy $60 of products. And then you can, start slowly going to another friend. These aren't fantasies. These are really achievable outcomes. You just have to put in consistent efforts to make it happen. Okay. All right. So next is an example of the workflow. Okay. So usually you'll hear us here at Kollectin say style 3 friends, because the reason why is if you style 3 friends, you pretty much got over that stage 1 fear, and you're right in it, and you're building your business. It really starts with consistent weekly posts. So if you're on social media, trying to consistently post on social media, pick a day, or maybe pick, a time frame every single day, and do it every single day would be best. But if not, do it one day a week. Or if you're more of an in-person, like for me, I'm always an in-person. I love to just text people and call people. And I designate Friday for that. And I usually see a lot of results over the weekend. And then if you're, braver and you're moving on to stage 2, then I would say go out and try to sign your local boutique or retailer. So if it's your, nail salon, your beauty salon, the gym next door, or somewhere you're taking classes, that would be the first place I would go, a friendly place to kind of try your B2B business client. Okay. So at the end of the day, it's really just slow and steady, and eventually it'll roll into something big. It's a really a process to do that mindset shift, so that you can move from feeling small and being small to actually seeing how the little things can get up to, build its momentum and get up to its sizable size that you want to build. Okay. So weekly momentum challenge is, what stage are you at? So take one action this week. So look at all the different stages that is posted here, and take one action that you commit yourself this week. And with that, you will see that you're taking steps to build the momentum that you want for your business. Okay, so for those who are on the chat, you can go ahead and type in the number, the stage that you're in, and then also what you plan to do to kind of level up and grow your business this week. So again, growth is every single week. So we've gotten a little better this week. It doesn't have to be fast. It just has to be steady. So take small steps to really get started. And grit is not about intensity. It's about consistency. So you are a lot closer than you think. So just keep going and keep building. And during this holiday season, I'm sure you will see success, because the season itself will give you a little boost and an oomph, so that it makes things a lot easier.